Hi guys, my name is Gulshan Devaya and you're watching me on MissMalini.com. Way back in school, yeah. I think I performed it also. But I was not doing it. Or maybe I'm mistaken, maybe I just fantasized I was doing Romeo and Juliet. No, actually no, I have not performed Romeo and Juliet. But I've read Romeo and Juliet. And I watched various versions on cinema and on stage as well. Yeah, she was... Yeah, I mean, I really didn't know how to behave with her because I try when you meet stars like Bonafide star, and two of her films hadn't released. I mean, she's a bigger star now, but she was already a pretty big deal when she showed up on set. We were shooting Lahu, and I was for 3 hours, sort of sitting around her and wondering what I should say. I wanted to say something really intelligent, and I wanted to make a good impression. Oh, I come from the theatre, something. Yeah, so I wanted to make a good impression, and I just couldn't come up with anything. And finally, she said hello, and that's all. It was just, yeah, I might have just melted away or something. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it was my makeup that was melting because I was sort of heating up for 3 hours, thinking of racking my brain to say something really intense. Because she was already working with Kalki, who's a friend of mine, and Kalki had told me that don't worry, I've spoken to Deepika. I've told her that you're my friend, she'll treat you well. She was kidding, but yeah, I really didn't know. I get not starstruck, but I get pretty terribly embarrassed when I meet famous people. I wouldn't know what to say. Like I remember meeting Quentin Tarantino once. I just shook his hands, and I was wearing a white jacket. It was in Venice, and so hey, white jacket, a little different. That's something he said. That's a very bad impersonation of Quentin. No, I'm not an impersonator. But that's all I could say. I said thank you. Everybody was going up to him and talking to him, and shaking his hand and getting pictures with him. I just felt that I don't know. It's almost you feel like you're not worthy of going and meeting somebody who's that great. Very difficult question because it's more fun to sort of do anything if you're given an opportunity to sort of be creative and contribute and experiment and come up with new ideas. And I don't like a very straightforward approach to anything. And so I like to sort of step out of the box as much as possible. So be it a bad guy or a good guy. Firstly, I think the whole term bad guy and good guy is very subjective. It depends on how you perceive it. Human beings are not perfect. Everybody has a little bit of a good guy and everybody has a little bit of bad guy in them. Sometimes the bad guy is more prominent, sometimes the good guy is more prominent. So I look at it that way. So I don't think every role is difficult to start with, and then it gets easy once you figure out the shit for yourself, and then it becomes easy. But I think the roles that I've done so far have very prominent sort of grey characteristics in them, and it's been fun because of the kind of directors I've worked with, because of the kind of films I've been part of. So the fun comes from there, from the work atmosphere, from the process, not exactly that kind of roles. So I just use whatever knowledge I have about fashion to just impress the people who are trying to dress me. I just use some technical term and they're like, how do you know that? I studied fashion. I'm from NIFT. What batch? So nothing, I just use it to break the ice, but I don't interfere at all. I'm indefinitely retired from fashion as of now, and I think the only thing that I really want to do is be an actor, and that's what I love, and that's it. It makes sense. It's about creating balance, and then if you even look at some of the mythological scriptures, like I'd like to sort of refer to the Mahabharata or the Ramayana, particularly the Mahabharata, because I think this guy Duryodhana is one of the greatest villains of all times, because he has so much in him, as in so many great qualities. At the same time, his ego always got the better of him, and eventually his end was because of his gigantic ego. So a little bit of that is there in all the sort of, I think these are the influences that I grew up with, because my grandparents used to tell me the stories, and then later I think you see aspects of that in other great villains through comic books or cinema. And I think the good looks good because there is a bad to sort of complement that or sort of contrast that, and it's very important. We wouldn't appreciate the good things in life if we didn't experience or go through the harsh realities of life. So then that little moment of peace and love and companionship and friendship and joy, we seem to enjoy it more if we've just been through a really bad time. So it's about creating contrast. And I think I have a wonderful opportunity with the films I have done to sort of create that contrast, to show the darker side of things. Yeah, I think people are comfortable in categorizing. When you put things in certain slots, then it's easy for you to identify, oh, this is this, or this is the good guy, so he's the boy next door, he's the chocolate boy, he's this, that. So I think I've been put in this category saying that, oh, he's the grey guy, he plays all these grey roles and all that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because it's not going to affect me. It's not going to make me believe that this is who I am. As long as I know who I am and what I can do and what my capabilities are, and I keep pushing myself to explore more about myself and my craft, I'm okay with these slots because they're not going to sort of chain me down. It's not a shackle. I also believe that it's impossible for human beings, because the kind of cinema that we're doing, it's impossible for us to play white or black. It doesn't exist in the world because it's not human nature. Everybody has imperfections, so grey is the color of human beings. So now it boils down to, if it's a lighter shade of grey, it's a darker shade of grey. If it's a lighter shade of grey, it's more acceptable. If it's a darker shade of grey, it's like, oh, he's in the danger zone. You don't want to mess with that guy, or he has some. When you look at, for example, when you look at a film like Forrest Gump, for that matter, Tom Hanks did a fantastic job of playing this guy who was so imperfect here. And in real life, I think people would never accept or love that character so much. But on cinema, it's a different case. And he created such a lovable character out of a guy who has so many imperfections. And so it's about that, and that's the greatness of cinema. So, but yes, I'm doing a couple of films where I think we'll see more lighter shades of grey. And hopefully people will look at me as a guy not just doing negative roles, but an actor who can who can be versatile. My mind doesn't work as brilliantly. You know, when I was young, I used to do these performances for the school audience. I went to a Christian institution, so run by nuns. So they used to always, oh, you're good at this. Oh, tomorrow we have this function. So why don't you just plan something and perform in front of kids? So I can't even remember what I used to do, and I used to just come up with stuff when I was 7, 8, 10 years old. And the kind of imagination, the kind of active imagination that I used to have when I was a child, I kind of miss it, and it was fantastic. And I think as you grow up, you become more insecure about yourself, and you become inhibited, and then you sort of condition yourself to think a certain way. It's great. That's life. Everybody goes through it, but I wish I could just tap into that 5-year-old.
It was back in 99, watching movies all the time. Be Pasha from the Bay.